Hey there. So today I want to talk a little bit about some bad news that transpired this morning, and this was the cancellation of Cash Grab. If you don't know what Cash Grab is, it was a Comicsgate title that many people were looking forward to. In fact, if you don't know what Comicsgate is at all, Comicsgate is essentially a consumer revolution wherein people have tired of the mainstream concept of what comics should be. They've tired of disrespect to legacy characters, the diminishing quality that you see both in the pages and on the outside as far as materials are concerned, while also you're met with a rising pricing point at the highest levels we've ever seen. Gimmicks are on the rise, 20 to 40 covers to try to cover up for the fact that comic books, they're not selling. You need some kind of gimmick to get the local comic shop in order. And while you're doing this, you have the rise of the unprofessional. Basically, they're professionals that have been emboldened by an industry that says you can go out and you can deal with the consumer any way you pretty much want. There's pretty much no behavioral line within that. Now, people, they've gotten fed up with it because consumers, they don't have to take this mess. Most people wouldn't. After a while, after being disrespected, most people will walk away. And when they do it, especially if they have involvement, especially if they've gone out and they've spent money on this stuff, they won't walk away quietly. I mean, why should they? While they're walking away, too, they're looking for things to actually invest in. They're looking for escapism still. And that's where some of the artists out there fulfill need. You have Ethan Van Sciver with Cyberfrog. You have people like Ben Henderson, a relative newcomer that had a hit with Ravage. You have all of these projects that come up repeatedly, and people, they seem enamored by the concept of going out and having something of their own. Now, one of the projects people were really looking forward to was Cash Grab. It was going to be a project that was an homage to Comicsgate, with central figures that people knew, two funny ones in Cecil and Nerkish, and also a talented artist on the helm. Then this morning, it was canceled. Everything fell apart. It all came with this posting. Now, when I'm talking about this stuff, too, I want people to respect this decision. You should have the ability to walk away, to disassociate from someone whenever you choose. See, this has been a problem within things because there are some people out there that won't respect that notion. They don't respect the idea that you choose who to associate with. You choose how to associate. No one can make you do that. My problem is not that. And in fact, the people that are involved in this, all three people, I've had nothing but respect for. They have always done me personally right. So Tim Lim here, this is his account. He posts, due to influencers within Comicsgate and personal reasons beyond our control, Nerkish and I are leaving the Cash Grab project. Cash Grab is now officially Cecil's, and we wish him, that's his tag there, the very best wherever he decides to take it. So you see other tags associated here. Now, the problem with this is not disassociation. The problem with this is they kind of didn't let Cecil know. You can see his reaction when you go and you look up other posts that are associated. You can see him go, well, what's going on here? And then as this stuff goes forward, later on, he posts about how he's gutted, one word, and I mean, this is Cecil here. Cecil is a master of posting things about, these concepts, and one word utterances, well, that's not really his forte. But still, in the moment there, yeah, I'm sure he felt gutted because he had no idea. He also had hope within that. He said, still hoping, holding out hope that Cash Grab can be salvaged, but finding out like this was a real punch to the heart. Because he found out like the rest of us plebs did. He found out right on Twitter while everyone else was finding out. He also, later on, there was a discussion on Comic Artist Pro Secrets, talking about what exactly had transpired. And he goes on and he eventually talks about how he had no idea what was going on. But it sounds like within this, we may actually have this project taking a new form where Cash Grab is dead, Backstab is being written today. So that might actually be something that's interesting to talk about. Now, as far as the statement for influencers here in this original post, I actually think this is regarding the war campaign. If you don't know who they are, I don't want to poison the mindset pro or con for that. I want you to go check them out and to see what you think about it. I want you to keep an open mind there too. I don't want people to make that up for you. And I also want you to remember what memeing is versus fanaticism, because memeing is a totally different thing. And well, we're talking about internet culture. Also, when we're looking at this stuff, Ethan Van Sciver on Comic Artist Pro Secrets, he talked about a discussion between Nerkish and himself. Now, I have talked about this a little bit. Some of this stuff apparently happened within a private conversation, but some of this stuff, it actually happened within a link sharing room. Now, I've tried to explain these things before because people have talked about those, and you always have people that say gatekeeping. Oh my God. But really, if you look at the way Twitter is, so if I'm going to invite 20 people onto something repeatedly, I can either drop 20 links to each individual, or I can message them as a group and I can say, hey, you guys, here is a link. You can get on when you can because I don't know who's available and not. Out of that, too, you can invite individual people. So that's a way that you can go and you can explore inviting people. Now, this kind of stuff, it comes, it goes. You never really know who's going to have one and what. But within those things, you have conversations. So there was a conversation between Ethan Van Sciver and Nerkish, and I was privy to that. I have to say that I thought both parties actually handled that, and I thought there was a discussion that needed to be had, not because necessarily of the subject, but the people that are taking aim on the outside. So this discussion, it was between Nerkish and it was between Ethan, and they were talking about a Discord that Nerkish used to have. He said that he is not associated with it anymore. I've never checked it out, but I did see certain shots from it, and I know some of those shots, they went and really they pushed that free speech absolutism. They pushed that idea, and if that's what you stand for, that's fine. The issue here, of course, is the other side. The other side is always looking for a reason to destroy, as seen here when Jason Youngbluth is discussing things. So he puts out these things all the time. He puts out his little post wherein he's talking about Nerkish and he's talking about Ethan and he's talking about Nerkish being a racist. Now this was an attempt by him to go and label Nerkish a white supremacist. Now that in and of itself may sound like it's par for the course. I mean, when you're going through this kind of stuff, it might sound like, the regular hit, because many hit pieces, they want to refer to you with buzzwords and on. But the problem was the connection here. If there's something that could actually offend and beyond, could it be weaponized by someone like this guy, and could it be used to deplatform? Now, when I'm talking about this stuff, too, I want you to think about certain platforms and the way that they've been treated recently. I want you to think about the fact that when you're looking at, say, Gab, for example, Gab was attacked. Gab was taken down. Why? Because one person on Gab, they met certain criteria, and it allowed the pay system to be attacked. It allowed them to attack the website system and on. Indiegogo has pulled down certain things because they thought something was associated with hate. The same thing has transpired for other systems too, and it's a very fragile ecosystem when you're looking at this, especially when you're trying to make money versus you're trying to maintain certain things. So you can see Jason Youngbluth. You can see him talking about white white supremacy up here, connecting it, and talking about Indiegogo, and talking about going and flagging campaigns. Then he talks about Nerkish. He goes in and he addresses the way that this is set up. He talks about who and what Nerkish is, and he does so in a very negative light. At the end of this, too, he talks about Comicsgate being a racket entirely dependent on a single crowdfunding website that has no taste for embarrassment. So open the door, push on it. Now, these people are talking about deplatforming. They talk about it openly. You can see that I can openly get to this because that's what they do. They've done this before, too. They've attacked people trying to go to Comic-Cons. They've actually attacked their positioning there. They've attacked them, in other ways. There have been people that have actually gone out. They've doxed. They've tried to harass. There are so many methods of intimidation that it's a wonder that anybody wants to deal with these folks at all. Maybe that showcases why the industry goes and capitulates too, because someone that's empowered to do this stuff by industry, well, everybody out there would probably fear them. So anyhow, I think that part of that was motivated by maybe conversation. That's what Ethan had talked about there. I think part of that decision, of course, was motivated by internal drama. And again, if you're talking about disassociation is okay. The issue that you run into, again, with this was that Cecil was blindsided. And Cecil's a good dude. In fact, I want to really emphasize this. I want people to understand in no uncertain terms. I like Cecil. I like Cecil quite a bit. If he needs help going out and promoting something or going out and making this stuff right in some way, I am more than willing to help him out. He is a good guy. He has gone out of his way to help me. He did so when my channel was really small. He's done so over and over again. And well, I will always return that favor. He is a decent guy. Like I said, I have nothing but respect for him. The people also within this comic book, I again have had no problems with them. I do not care really that they felt they needed to go and disassociate. I just wish it had been done better. I also wish that they would come on and they would clarify. I wish that they could come out and they could say exactly what was bothering them. And they could go and maybe they could internet blood sport it out. But no, instead, we basically have the death of one comic, and it's caused by people like this young Bluth. It's caused by people out there who would hold that proverbial pistol to your reputation or your occupation, and they say they will pull the trigger if. Those are the type of people that really cause waves ultimately. And when you see something like this, when you see someone that's walking away, remember to respect them within this. And remember, if they're not the answer for you, well then, still, the question that Comicsgate brings up, it's still a valid one. It asks what you should be walking toward because, well, there's nothing within this to keep you from walking away when you look at mainstream comics. So anyhow, you tell me what you think within this. Also, if you like this kind of content, please consider supporting the channel. Right now, my channel is pretty much under attack, so I would appreciate it if you would look at Patreon or if you would look at the PayPal link there and, help someone out. You can also go on The Umbrella Guy and catch those daily live streams. It's an old channel that I had, and basically for the next few months, that's where I'm going to be located. You can go and sub, you can go and like, and of course, we can continue this conversation as we grow larger and larger and outside of these people's control. But when you're looking at all of this, of course, let me know what you think because, when you're looking at this kind of stuff, how did you take it? I mean, were you surprised by this? I imagine everyone was. When you see the reaction of Cecil here, hopefully that you want to help that guy out. And I hope, again, Cecil understands that we're here with you, buddy. We are definitely here. All you need to do is ask if you need something. Anyhow, let me know what you think, and thank you.